Hi, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Mrs. Pinky Thoughts. I am your host, Mrs. Pinky, and I am so glad that you could join me today on a new episode of my show. Before we get into what my show is about today, I want to ask you to please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and please hit that notification bell so you're always notified when I have the latest for you on YouTube. And I'm also asking you, if you are so kind and so blessed by the content that I put out every week for you guys, please don't be shy and donate $10 to my Cash App at Miss Pinky 85 up in the top of your corner of your screen, or my PayPal at paypal.me/MrsPinky85. And as you can see along the bottom of the screen are all of my social media accounts. You have my Facebook, my YouTube. I'm also media director at consciousconservativemedia.net, my Twitter, and also my Instagram. Thank you again for joining me on a new episode of Mrs. Pinky Thoughts. And we can just jump right into it. I decided to start a new series called Let Me Reintroduce Myself, because I've been on social media for a while, and I had steady amount of followers, and then all of a sudden I blew up when I got involved into other things. So a lot of people are like, who are you? And what are you about? And they don't have any clue why I'm talking about politics or why am I talking about any of the things that I talk about. Some people don't even know why I call myself Miss Pinky Thoughts, but we covered that in last week's episode. So a lot of people, if you don't know, or if you haven't spent more than a day with me, don't know that I'm an Army veteran. So in my series called Let Me Introduce Myself that I've been doing on Mondays, I decided today I'm going to share a little bit about my military background, what I did, what I was doing, and just have a nice little chit chat and let people come in as they do and talk about whatever we want to talk about. So today's episode is going to talk about my 5-year career in the U.S. Army. I did serve in the United States Army from 2006 until 2011. And during that time, I have a lot of stories and a lot of things that I think are very interesting and that I would like to share with you. I'm not going to try to share everything because it can get boring and bogged down, but I share certain things with me about me that I think will be interesting. This is not an endorsement for the United States Army. I'm not telling or trying to push anyone to join the military or say anyone has to join the military. I just want to give you that disclaimer up front. My experiences are mine alone, and my thoughts and opinions about the military and serving your country and all that are also mine alone. So if you want to beat somebody up about the comments and everything that I'm saying today about the Army or the military, and you heard a different thing or you experienced something different, just know these are just my thoughts, and that's why it's called Mrs. Pinky Thoughts. And thank you so much for joining me. So you would think that it would be a lot easier to just sit here and blah 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 about myself. But the military is, I feel like, is a special culture that's different than the rest of other cultures. Like you have sports culture, you have college culture, you have different clubs and organizations people belong to. So the military is unique in that it is something more than just a job. It becomes your identity. It becomes a part of who you are, and at least while you're doing it, and then it changes if you stop doing it over a while. So it's not like you're on and off as a soldier or you're on and off as a Marine when you're doing the military. For me, it felt like it was a 24/7, 365 day a year thing. You slept, breathed, and drank the Army. As I'm talking, I want to start from the beginning and try to work my way into when I got out. And that way we can keep this moving and not make it so boring or so long and drawn out. So like I said last week, my younger brother was in high school and he was trying to decide what to do with his future. Me, on the other hand, I was already into my adult pre-20s when the recruiter was at my house. I wasn't the target of his recruiting. My brother was. They were doing that thing. I was in the area of where the recruiter and my brother was talking. So like I said last week, my dad mentioned me, and then I made a bet with the recruiter that if he could get me to lose weight, I would go, being the smart kind of aleck that I am. But I'm also about my word. So since he started taking me to the gym, he started taking me to classes, he started doing military type stuff with me. I got to see his job and everything. I said, okay, since I'm, about my word, and I'm not doing anything. I don't have a husband. I didn't have kids. And this was around 2006. So I was 19 years old, it was 2005, 2004-ish when this started out, but I didn't really actually join and sign up and everything until 2006. But I do have a history of people in my family that are in the military, but they were distant. It wasn't like my mom and dad or anything like that. It was more like uncles, aunts, and everything. And I did have ROTC in high school, Marine Corps. And so I had some kind of idea of what the military was like. But because of where my age fell, we, as the United States, was going to war in Iraq. And at the time, I was like, oh no, we going to war. I'm not doing that. And so I just wrote the Army off. And I did have a chance when I was in college. A lady came and she talked to me, and she was like, she was telling me about joining the military, and I was looking at her like, do you see who you talking to? I'm overweight, I'm in shape, I'm lost in school. Do you really think someone like me could join? And that goes into my story of my own journey of finding myself and having my own self-confidence and things like that, because I didn't have none of that. So that also played into one of the reasons why I was a smart aleck with the recruiter when he was like, you can join the military. And I was like, me? No, I'm not athletic. I was not athletic in high school. I didn't play no kind of sports whatsoever. I did more nerd book stuff. I was into reading and writing and chemistry and math. So no football, no basketball, no baseball, no running, no swimming, no track. That was not me. Now, my sister, she did a whole other thing. But me personally, that just wasn't my interest. My interest was always books and learning and history and things like that. So when a recruiter recruited me and I did all the paperwork and I tried to get into the military, and I didn't know what I was doing at all. I didn't know how to pick a job. I didn't know what the ASVAB was, which is a military test to try to give you a score. And then it tells you what jobs are available to you and that you will be more likely to match up with. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know anything. And I was doing a lot. And the recruiter just wanted to get me in, basically. And talking about the war in Iraq, they had waivers, and I'm pretty sure that I got in on a waiver because I know when they asked me to do those first couple of push-ups that they were all wrong. I didn't even know how to do. I didn't even know how to do a push-up correctly. So, but so the reason I'm not trying to put myself down or talk bad about myself. I'm just trying to be straight honest with you. A lot of people put people in the military into like two categories. They either got Gomer Powell, who was all clumsy and do everything kind of messed up, or they got the super American sniper type of person who was all gung-ho and they're like the top soldier, they're the top military person, they're the top athlete, and they just do everything great. And I fell somewhere in the middle. Like I wasn't the best at everything, but I wasn't the worst at everything. I was just doing enough to survive in the military, because in the military you stay there. So that's your life, your house, your work, your job, your everything. So so I was doing I was just like, okay, let's do this. So I started this journey off in Baltimore, Maryland, where I was raised. That's where I was living at the time. I was in Baltimore, Maryland. I got recruited in Baltimore, Maryland. So when you get recruited in that area, you go down to Fort Meade, which is in Southern Maryland. And Fort Meade is a military base that processes you. You swear your oath. You basically sign your life over and say, let's do this. And you put your hand up and you say the oath, and then it's on and popping. What I didn't know was on the night that I was actually supposed to be leaving, everything kind of got messed up because my original job I didn't qualify for, because it was certain tests and things I was supposed to do and I didn't do right. And it was journalism. Ooh, kind of tricky. But back then you had to do a voice recording, and I did it all jumbled up and rushed. So they had to go back to the drawing board and had to pick a whole nother job. And I had to get shipped out a different day. So I went back to the drawing board, and I actually got a good score on the ASVAB. I can't remember what the number is to this day, but I did pretty good. But I didn't know what I was looking at when I was looking at these jobs. And then I thought to myself, hey, I like cooking. And I told y'all last week about my passion for food and cooking. So they had Army cook. Lord knows I should have did some research. I wish we walked around with smartphones at that time. I wish I had a computer in my pocket. I wish I just took 10 minutes and went to the library and did some research. I saw the video of an Army cook, and I thought it was, I knew the video was a recruiting cheesy video for something, but But I said, I'm gonna be an army cook. I'm gonna cook for the military. The soldiers need to eat. I'm gonna do this. So that was my job. And so I got shipped off. And I left Baltimore, Maryland on a bus. Everybody has their own story of how they got to basic training, but I was assigned to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. So I took a bus from Maryland down to South Carolina. And on that bus, it was crazy. Everybody was talking, having a good time, talking about, why they signed up for the army, what they was going to do, what their dreams was, or what made them join. And it was a bunch of different people from different parts of Maryland, different parts of Virginia, different parts of DC that was on there. Lord and behold, when we pulled up and we saw that sign, and we saw that sign that said Fort Jackson, and I can't remember how it looks now because it's been a while ago. But when we pulled up, well, I say 5 minutes before we actually got to where the bus stopped, the entire bus got quiet. The whole bus was lit at first. Everybody was loud. There was a lot of talking. But that last 10 minutes, everybody was silent, dead silent. Then the drill sergeants came out of nowhere like bats out of hell, and they jumped on the bus and they was like, "Get your shit and get off my bus, get out now!" And then everybody started panicking and was like, what did we do? What did we get ourselves into? And that was the moment that I dedicated my life to Christ, because I was scared and I was like, oh my God. And for the next 9 weeks, I called on Jesus' name every chance I got. I was tired. I was sleepy. I was hungry. Sometimes I didn't feel like eating. I was not the best soldier at all. So I was the one that was slow. I was the one that was getting yelled at. I was the one that was always the one falling out of runs. I don't know who in their right mind thought it was a good idea for me to become a military soldier, but there it was. So it was the funniest thing ever in life. So when we're scrambling around to get our stuff, so we have a bag. They give you the bag before they ship you off. So you got all your stuff in the bag, you think. But before you go anywhere, they take you into this room and make you dump your bag, because there's a lot of stuff you can't have. So if you got candy, if you got snacks, if you got cigarettes. I had Scope mouthwash, but I guess people can get drunk off mouthwash. Nope, can't have that mouthwash. You got to have what they give you. And when they say the Army gives you what you need, they give you what you need: your underwear, your bras, your socks, your shoes, your uniform. Yeah, you get a uniform as soon as you get there. Oh, yeah, that's what. Yes, okay. It changes you. I was not who I am today. I'm going to tell you guys the honest to God truth. I was a meek, nerdy Black girl from the inner city that was just to herself. I mean, I was crazy to my family, but, the military they mold you, and then you come out however you come out, however you come out. But, I was like, what did I get myself into, Lord? And there's 2 parts to basic training. There's your introductory, and then you go to your unit that you spend the rest of the time. So in the introductory, that's where they teaching you how to say yes, drill sergeant. They teaching you how to march. They teaching how your uniform should look. Teaching girls how your hair should look. Teaching the guys nothing, because y'all gonna go get haircuts. And they teaching you that you just learning push-ups, because you're gonna do a lot of stuff that make you do push-ups. So basically you're learning how to push the earth from the ground, because everything, you are not fast enough, you're not strong enough, you're not doing right enough. And it's funny because you see, you just slapped with all kinds of people from America, people with accents, people with rich kids, poor kids, ghetto kids, rural kids, Black, white, Chinese, gay, straight, they don't give a damn. It's just everybody smashed together. Oh, and older and younger too, which is a dichotomy that a lot of people don't remember to mention when they talk about boot camp. And yeah, even if you watched a lot of movies or somebody in the military, your own individual experience is just crazy. And there were women there, women drill sergeants. We used to see in the big hats for the men, and in the Army, the women wear a different hat, unlike the Marine Corps, which they wear the same hat. So your answer to everything is yes, drill sergeant, no, drill sergeant, but you shouldn't be saying no. You should be saying yes, drill sergeant. So you mess up sometimes to be like trying to say ma'am or read their name. Like, you don't even need to know their name. You just say yes, drill sergeant, and you go. And my experience was, because I was this kind of person who wasn't athletic and I didn't have a lot of confidence, I was just trying to listen and just be forgotten. But because of my personality and because I'm clumsy by nature and because I'm just the way I am, I was always on their radar. I was always there. So we're in this part called Inception. It's like basically you learning the bare minimum of being a soldier. You learning the bare minimum of being in the United States military. And what a lot of people don't know is they know we get yelled at. They know you march. They know that, but they don't know you go to a lot of classes too. So you got to learn a lot of United States history. You got to learn a lot of Constitution. You learn a lot, but you also are sleep deprived. You're also going out of your mind. You might lose Jesus. You might be finding Jesus. You might be finding Buddha. You're just going through it. And I say the age group that I was in, I was 19 going on 20, I think, at this time. So that's the same age group you are when you go to college, off to college. So this is the first time for many that you've done anything that has nothing to do with your parents and you considered an adult, but you also not an adult. Like you like, yeah, I'm grown, but I don't know what I'm doing. I never had a paycheck. I never paid no bills. I mean, I had a paycheck because I had a job as a child. I worked at Burger King and stuff. But this is just a whole different culture, different atmosphere. You see people running from other units and stuff. And you're like, why did I decide to do this? Is free college really free? Yeah, I went to college the first time on a scholarship, but you start thinking, man, can I really go AWOL? Nah, I ain't got no, I ain't got no hops. I can't even go AWOL, right? So boot camp itself, for me, it was just like the movies. Like there was a lot of yelling. There was a lot of, you got to do this, you got to do that. And me personally, I don't know about everybody else, because I seen other people. There were people who were just getting stuff and they were just on point. And then me, I knew a little bit because like I said, I was in high school, ROTC, but some stuff was just, I just couldn't. And they'd be like, go ahead and do push-ups, go do this. So one of the I got a lot of little interests. I feel like my role in my basic training section was the comedian. And not because I am funny intentionally, but my nature, I make people laugh. And so it's like every time I try to do something the way I think, it sounds right in my head, but then it comes out wrong. Like one time we were marching and they tell you when you're marching to look at the back of the head of the person in front of you and you march and you just look straight. So my butt was looking straight instead of looking all around like I got peripheral vision. So I'm literally looking at the dude head in front of me and I see no hole in the ground. So there was a big ass hole in the ground. And guess what? Private P did. Private P fell in a motherfreaking hole. And I took out my whole entire squad. Everybody fell down. And things like that kept happening to me. And it was just like one funny, I can laugh now, but when I was getting yelled at and stuff, it wasn't all that funny because you have like 3 or 4 drill sergeants in your face. If you ever seen it on YouTube or you want to Google it later, it's one drill sergeant here, one drill sergeant here, one, and they're yelling at you. I mean, if you grow up in a typical African American or Black family, you used to getting yelled at, so that don't really bother you none. But it do when you tired and you don't want to, you like, I don't want to be here anymore, and your ghost leaves your body. You're like, why did I do this? And then they're yelling at you and you're like, oh, I hate this. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody who is here listening to me blab about my military experience. Thank you guys for joining me on a new episode of MrsPinky. I'm talking about my military experience. I'm just getting through boot camp. And Lord, I still to this day, and it's been a decade or so since I've actually been a soldier. So the fact that I made it through boot camp, that's what I would tell people who want to go, like that you can do it, but I don't know how sometimes I made it. And I think that's because they analyzing you all around the entire time. They're not just taking, oh, you're bad at this, but you're good at this. They're taking you as a person into consideration when they're deciding whether to let you graduate. And you still got to meet the standards. You can't just be like, oh, you keep let me pass you. Nah, no one cares about that kind of stuff. So there's different types of training you have to go through. Like I said, you have to meet certain standards. Now, everybody knows about the physical standards you have to run. People know about the uniform and things like that. But there's also things like the shooting. You have to meet certain qualifications. You have to meet certain qualifications using certain equipment. Like you have to go in a gas chamber. So I'm going to tell you guys about my experience in the gas chamber, which they set us up totally because I didn't know what we was doing that day. So they like, get in formation. We're going to go do something. They don't tell us what it is. We go to this random grassy little area with like some picnic tables or whatever, and we go over there and we think it's another obstacle course because it kind of looks the same way, which usually has a lot of benches, and they let everybody sit down and then they explain what's coming next. And they always is surprising you. They're never telling you up front what it is you're going to do. So you just sitting there like, oh God, what are we going to do today? And so we eat chow outside. Chow is another word for food, lunch, dinner, or whatever you want to call it. So we eating chow outside. But for some reason, they're like, hey, you hungry? You extra hungry? So these people give us more chow. They never let you get second, especially if it was me and you were struggling with your weight. They definitely wouldn't let you eat nothing. And if you got caught with something, you were going to get like that dude in Full Metal Jacket because you was going to get beat by people who get in trouble because you got caught. That could definitely happen. So we're in this area, looks picnicky. They letting us eat a lot. And then they tell us to line up. And we're like, okay, line up, do what you told. Then they take you into this room, having you facing each other. The drill sergeant's in the middle. And you have your gas mask with you. And they ask you, do you remember the class that you had on the gas mask like 2 hours ago, and how to do it and how to don your mask? And you like, I hope I remember. Why y'all asking me? Do I remember? Come to find out, we about to get intimate with some gas. I'm laughing because this is just too funny. So we're going to get intimate with gas. We're in what they call MOP suits. I don't remember what the acronym stand for, but just think it's to protect you if a chemical attack ever happened when you're deployed or in any kind of situation. You're supposed to know what to do, how to wear your gas mask. So we're in this room. Drill sergeant got this mask on. He talking. He's like, don your mask. You hold it for a certain amount of seconds and then you seal it. Hope you paying attention. So we put our mask on. They pop the gas. Okay, it's good. I did it right. Oh, finally I did something right. On the back of my neck back here. Now, I don't know who's going to watch this later, but the only thing I can explain it is it feels like a relaxer, like a girl chemical when you get your hair dyed, how it tingles a little bit. So some people was already fussing about that because they never had their hair dyed or permanent perms or any kind of thing done to their hair or mess with chemicals. So they were freaking out already. Me, I was like, I'm good. This tingle ain't got nothing on. When I get my hair done, I'm good. But this is where the trick is. The drill sergeant says, you're going to take the gas mask off. And that's when it hits you why they let us eat so much food that day. Because people about to be sick. Oh my God. So this is what you had to do. They said, I'm going to tell you to take your mask off. But before you do, take a deep breath in. And you take your mask off, you got to say the soldier's creed. I am an American soldier, and the rest. We were all facing the exit. That's how you had to get out. You had to take your mask off, and the drill sergeant got to hear you say, I am an American soldier. First girl go, good. One girl, white girl, pass out because the gas getting to her. She's hyperventilating. They drag her out. The third guy, the guy who was arguing with drill sergeants 2 weeks ago from New York City, he was like, I got you. I got this. He took it off and he was like, well, I am a Oma. And then I got to get out of here. He was pushing people. And we was like, oh, the street thug. That thug stuff went out the window. That gas got up in his throat. Oh, man. It was a short Hispanic guy in front of me. I was so scared that I didn't even realize it was not my turn. It was his turn. So they was like, Private, take your mask off. I said, yes, drill sergeant. I am an American. Oh my God. Oh man. So I said, I'm an American, and I blazed out of there. Now, at the end of boot camp, this is something you don't know that's going on the entire time you're in boot camp. It's being recorded. They need some footage for their promo videos. So when you're in formation, you watching the end of graduation, guess what you see? You see you doing stuff. And there is this picture of me, and I got to find from some of my old school buddies that I still have, of me coming out of the gas chamber, and it is not pretty or sexy. And when I find it, I'm going to be scared because even though my husband is a soldier too, it is not pretty. I was in there, and it opens everything. So if you got cyanitis, if you got a cold, if you got COVID, they probably sticking you in there. Everything was coming out, and all the people who was eating the extra food, I didn't do it because I knew they was up to something. But all the people who was eating the extra food, it was bad when they came out. It was like everybody was all like dying on the side, and oh my goodness, it was the funniest stuff ever. And stuff like that kept happening to me because I say I have a lot of book smarts, but before the military, I didn't have common sense. I didn't have street smarts. I didn't have none of that. So a lot of stuff was just difficult for me. Like when we had to do obstacle courses, you have to figure out how to navigate the course. I'm all doing it backwards or doing it wrong. They're like, where is Private P going now? What is she doing? My next story is funny because there was this guy, right? So there are different types of people and personalities that come. And then some people have a pet peeve of people who join the military who just can't get it together or can't get right, is what they like to call you. So there was this guy who just couldn't stand me. I don't know if he actually secretly liked me or not. I don't know. But he couldn't stand that I sucked at everything. Like when I would do push-ups, he'd be like, that's not how you do a push-up. Like he always had something to say to me. And it was always funny because I'm like, oh, I don't care why you care. Like, just leave me alone. But we ended up on the same squad for a 5-pillar obstacle course. And the way that you do this course, now, if anybody has done the Googling, you will see it takes teamwork. Everybody can't get over the wall alone. You have to use your buddy to get over the wall. So he had to be the one to grab my legs, and I was bottom heavy. So I wasn't just heavy. I was all my weight is from my butt and my legs and my feet. So he had to be the one to like alley-oop me over the wall. And I told his ass when it was my turn, because I tried to do it myself and flip myself over, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So when it was time for me to do it, and he had to help me, he's standing there with an attitude because he didn't really want to do it. But he on the team. You got to be a team player whether you want to in the military or not. It's a whole bunch of shit you got to do you don't want to do, but you do it because you got to. So when it was my turn, I went and tried to run up. He had to push me over. He go, "Oh, you heavy?" And I made it over. And so that's why he stopped. He never said nothing else negative to me again because he was remember how heavy. I was like, that's what I have to lift when I do my own push-ups. That's the weight that I have to lift. So when you complain that you felt that. So that was one time. Also, I have a lot of phobias. I don't know why I would join the military with phobias, but I did. And one of my phobias is heights. And so the funniest time was you have to do I don't know what you would call it now, but you have to do like a lot of like soldier crawling and stuff. But this time we had to do it on these towers, and we had to actually go across the rope from tower to tower. I'm like, oh Lord, why? I wanted to leave. I was like, I do not want to do this. I'm like, God, why in the world would you make me do this, right? So there's this drill sergeant, right? Everybody's got gloves on so you don't get rope burn. And I'm laying like this on the rope. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. So I'm like, pause. I'm not crawling. I'm not doing nothing. And then like people down at the bottom are like, come on, man. We want to get this over with. And they rushing me in the drill sergeant thought it was funny to wiggle the rope because he probably thought I was overreacting about it. And then this high-ranking first sergeant came and was like, Private, you can do it. Like they was cheering me on. They started cheering me on. I was like, all right, if people want to cheer me on, I got to do it. So I was just crawling so slow, and that was my attitude to the rest of basic. I was starting to get the attitude, okay, I got to be here and I got to do this stuff. So yeah, I suck at all of this, so let me do it. So that's kind of how my attitude went. We went to the bayonet course where you had to stab like these dummies with the knife on the end of your rifle. So I'm just jabbing them, and they're like, okay, it's dead. You can go. So I'm just going through, you got to do this little crawl. And then you got this night infiltration course, which you probably seen in the Marine Corps do it. It was in one of the Marine Corps movies where the guy got shot, but it's not dangerous like that at all. It just feels that dangerous because they want you to pay attention because you're going to need this stuff later in life, and you really are. Like your drill sergeant tell you within about 6 to 9 months after you leave here, you're going to go to Iraq or Afghanistan. Like, we're not joking. You're going to end up probably at one of them. So you might want to listen to some of the stuff we teaching you. So I thought Nick was cool because my name is Nick Nicole. So it's night infiltration course, but they call it Nick at Night, like the TV show or the TV program. Now, Nick at Night, it teaches you how to see at night, and it teaches you how to use your night vision goggles. And I can't remember what we was learning there because this night was weird. So you basically have to crawl almost a half a football field length. I tell you again, I'm not athletic, but I'm a soldier and I'm training to be one, so I got to do it. And we was in South Carolina in the summer. It was hot, even though it was nighttime. So they got volleys of groups of people. I say 4 or 5 people going in succession. They say go, and that group goes and crawls. And then each group goes up this little embankment, and then they go crawl for like half a football field through this little obstacle course, kind of something like the Spartan races that you see some people do. And it's under barbed wire too, so you can't have your butt in the air kind of cheating like on your knees. You got to literally lay there and crawl and stuff. And this is stuff you think you're supposed to do because you signed up to be a soldier, so this is what you're doing. You crawling on the ground. So my turn comes. and you lean up against the thing and they say, ready, set, go. And you go and you crawl and then you like, I'm tired. And I think we did it after something else. I'm not exactly sure. But I lay there like I wanted to take a nap. I was so tired. I was like, I can't do this. Oh my God. I started crying like, why did they let me do this? I'm laughing now because it's funny. But at the time I was really ready to give up. But then as my head was like to the side, before that, there's drill sergeant standing up there kicking sand at you to simulate bombs going off. So they kicking sand at you. So you can't sand kicked at you, but you got to still lay down on the ground. So I'm laying there and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And some of my buddies that I made friends over the time are telling me, come on, you can do it. And I'm like, I don't got no energy. Like, I don't know if I didn't eat enough or what, but I just don't feel like doing this anymore. And then guess who I see next to me? Like, come on, soldier, let's go. And it was my drill sergeant on the ground crawling. Like, and he was like, if you go, I'm going to go all the way with you. And I was like, I cannot lay here. If my drill sergeant down here, because technically other drill sergeants are just up kicking sand. So he could have just been up kicking sand. But he decided to do it with me. So I was like, let's go. So I'm crawling. It's sand in my hair. And it starts to rain on us. Oh, my God. So it's hot, sticky, raining, dirty. Drill sergeant's yelling at you. Then you hear these guns going off at the top. So we don't know because of the stupid Marine Corps movie whether that's closer than it is. It really not. You could stand up and nothing would hit you. And I heard that they would trace rounds. They weren't even real. But I started feeling like I was in combat zone for real. I was like, all right, let's go. And then you just like crawling and you just crawling and crawling and crawling. And you take a breath like, and you look up and you look to the side and back. You're like, I'm not even halfway. God damn. But you like, let's go. So you just go and you finally get done and you like, and you just lay on the ground because you're done. But that one was funny because I didn't expect my drill sergeant to come help me. That one was a good one. I did suffer a couple of injuries because like I told you, I was clumsy and stuff. Like we did this one obstacle course where you had to run down and through all of these old trucks and rocks and all this other stuff. And I fell, like not looking where I was going. So that was a crazy time. One time, okay, so they do this thing, right? They tell you you're not allowed to get, because the defect is separate, I guess. And so they serve what they serve. But if you are not doing good on your PT, you like not running good, you fall out of runs, you not making your weight, you overweight or something like that, they better not catch you with drinking soda, eating snacks, anything like that. So one time my female drill sergeant decided to do what they call the integrity check. And that makes you drop your hat, open your coat, drop your pockets, and let me see what you got. And people were sneaking candy. I don't know where they was getting this stuff. They had honey buns. When I saw that stuff, I never even looked at it because I was like, nope, y'all not catching me with nothing. Because they was already yelling at me about other stuff anyway. So I was like, nope, y'all are not going to catch me with this stuff. So they did the integrity check, and I didn't have nothing. People thought I was going to be the main one caught. They thought, I was going to have snacks and tasty cakes, all of that. But no, I didn't have anything. So I got to go. They let me go back to the barracks and take a nap. that day. I was kind of scared though. I was like sleeping with one eye open, like making sure they didn't come in there and get me. But yeah, that day was pretty nice. But you get walked around like you're a kid. You get marched everywhere. You got 3 colored weeks, and I don't know if they do it like this, but when I was in this, what they did, you had 3 color weeks. You had red week, white week, and blue week. Red, white, and blue. Yep. And then as these weeks change, you get more and more responsibility. And then in blue week, you actually walk in with a battle buddy somewhere. You're not getting marched nowhere. You can walk. But you can lose those colors if your platoon gets caught doing something or doing anything like that. So, yeah, so my drill sergeant was right though. About 6 months after I got out of boot camp, I went to advanced individual training. I spent 8 weeks in Fort Lee, Virginia, and that's where I became a food service specialist or Army cook. They taught us how to read recipe cards. They teach you how to use the equipment. But basically, you don't really learn your job. I feel like most soldiers just learn enough to get out of there, and then they go to the unit, and that's when you start doing your job, and then that's when you really learn what to do. But I didn't know anything about the hours of this job. I didn't know how thankless it was because, they like, you just give me a sandwich. But I loved being a cook. I loved that job, but I didn't love like all of the politics people played. And I guess you can find that in any job or any culture, but it was my own unit. But I'm going to now do something for you guys. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of me because, I'm older and grayer and stuff than I was. So I'm going to show some pictures. Let me see how I can do this. So this is me during my first deployment to Iraq. Yeah, I don't have a smile on my face because it's Iraq, and I actually was self-conscious of that. Don't go by this timestamp and everything. I don't know why it says 2013. I wasn't even in the military anymore in 2013. But this was I would say this is our office area. Those radios on the wall is what my husband did because me and him was in the exact same squad. And that map behind us is like a map of Iraq and some of the routes and everything that we did when we was going there. And I just took the picture, and that's me, Private P, just hanging out in the military. Let me back up a little bit. I was assigned to 82nd Airborne Division, home of the paratroopers, people who jump out of the sky and are going around the world in 18 hours or less. I personally got in that unit without having to jump the entire time. Nope. And I just, like I told you, I'm afraid of heights, so I just never went and did it. And it was voluntarily, so you didn't have to jump if you didn't want to, but they really strongly preferred. But one of the things they never told you about going to 82nd is that you do this all the time, which is you run. These are probably the high-ranking people of the unit, probably the command sergeant major and the general team, and then everybody behind it is in their number order of their unit and their rank, and this is the division run. And every single soldier that is able and not on some kind of disability or whatever has to run. And this is just the main thing about the 82nd Airborne Division has to do with being able to jump with your gear and all this other stuff. But all we know how to do is jump out of planes and run and jump out of planes. That's what the 82nd is known for and does. And the wings are prideful because it symbolizes the work that. And this is Long Street, which is one of the longest streets on Bragg, and Hilly. So I just wanted to show that picture. I don't know these exact soldiers that are in this particular picture, but this particular picture shows what it was like. This was my actual unit. I know it's very, very blurry because it's a little bit old, but this was my commander. And it's really blurry, but I would be right underneath the guy on the right. I would be right underneath him. But me and my husband are on the same bottom row in the letter P's. He was Pinkston, which is my name now, and that's why I'm Mrs. Pinky. And I was Pulley, which was Pulley. And so we were actually not only squad members, not only in the same squad, we was actually in the same photo. And more pictures of me in my uniform. I don't have a lot of Iraqi pictures. I don't know what I was thinking during deployments, but I just personally don't have a lot of photos. If I find photos, I will show people in the future. Or if I have friends or old veteran buddies that have pictures of me. Because like I said, I was kind of self-conscious of my own weight and height and everything. So you would see how it fluctuates in some of these pictures. But this is another picture of me. I think I'm home on R&R when I took this one. This one I took with my brother back in Baltimore. You can see there's a little Baltimore behind us. That was me. And this is the other picture everybody always see, but my husband's not in this shot. But my brother is in the middle. He's a Marine. My sister is a sailor, and that's me. I'm actually pregnant in this picture, so that's why I kind of look. And it was our grandmother's funeral, and we decided to wear this outfit for us. So we decided to. I know I kind of look a little haphazard in my uniform, and it could have looked better, but that's another picture that I have of my military service. But yeah, so. My military career personally wasn't a bad one. It was just a lot of stress from my job of being a cook and then 2 deployments. The first picture, this one is my first one. I don't think I have any pictures available right now because of other stuff. I don't have any right now on my second one. But I did 13 months in Talil, Iraq, which was in the southern part of Iraq. And then I did Al-Asad, which more people hear about because that's a base that more different military go through, which is up a little bit north in Iraq. And I did that the second time. And the first deployment, we were getting attacked and mortared around, and we had convoys going in and out. The second deployment was more chill. It was like we was really just there. Like we really didn't have a mission. I mean, it was called aid and assist, and we were supposed to be helping Iraqis get back on their feet. But they had us doing everything from supply runs to just moving barriers and things like that the second time. But my military career wasn't bad. I feel like it's so many things personally going on. Oh no. You are correct. I want to show your comment. Deployments to a combat zone, no joke, no safe jobs. Wow. I want to say though, the way it was set up, my first deployment, I was a military cook, but because of certain rules, they ended up bringing civilians in to do the cooking and a lot of the supply jobs, which my unit was supply. So they ended up having nothing for certain jobs to do. So some of my cook buddies ended up doing security with infantry. Some of them got attached, and you can get the word attached to your name, and then you just end up doing anything. Like my deployment, I ended up doing paperwork. I went out on convoys. I'm like, I'm a cook. I'm supposed to be just making sandwiches, and which is weird because you end up doing that too when they need you to. So my job was all over the place. Like I went on a couple convoys, and thank God nothing happened. Both my deployments. Now I know people who have passed away, and it do give you kind of a survivor guilt, like why did that person have to pass away? Like there's people who passed away on the base that I lived on, and some people weren't even doing anything. Like Iraqis had this thing where they wanted to try to always hit. They were aiming at like the most populous places, so they try to hit the DFAT and the chow hall and where people eat at, because that's where most of the soldiers gather. So they would aim, and then their aim was terrible. So they would just hit somebody random room, or they would hit a random like parking lot, and people be just sitting there and they die. So you like, man, how did their Humvee got blowed up, but nothing happened to me? So you do kind of get this survivor's guilt, like why did that happen? But me and my husband, we both been deployed together both times. So we thank God every day, and I love the Lord because we made it back, and we made it back safely. But I can tell you something else in my stories. Deployments are not all bad. Like I've had green beans coffee, I had Cinnabon, I had some Burger King. So, he said did some training at Fort Gordon. Oh, my husband is Fort Gordon. Was he computer? Was he a 25 uniform? Because that's what my husband does, 25 Bravo. Don't think he ever deployed. I can imagine you did. I can imagine you did. Yes, I did deploy. I deployed twice. Like I said, the first time was 13 months into Little Iraq, and then the second deployment was Al-Asad, Iraq. Now, before I was in the middle of saying something else, but I want to say that I was scheduled to deploy a third time to Afghanistan, but I got pregnant with my son and I didn't go. And I actually used that as an opportunity to get out of the military, because it was like I was in 5 years and every other year was a deployment. And I was like, I don't think I could keep doing this, and then having a child. And then my husband was in the military. So it was a lot of choices that went into me getting out. But I could have been in Iraq in Afghanistan. But luckily, I just was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want, 6 years in and then 3 of them deployed. Like, it was like, this is getting to be too much. And that's why I have this attitude I have on Twitter about bringing the troops home and everything. But like I said, everybody's story is different. Like, I can tell you times that were dangerous, like when we could have got blown up, when we got shot at, and then I can tell you stories of us in the swimming pool on our other side having steak night while I was grilling as a cook, serving people steaks and playing phase 10. So, like when you see movies where you see soldiers are just playing and everything, that stuff was our downtime. So it was fun. Like we had salsa night where people were playing trumpets and we would play, and some people took some of the hookahs back. So but yes, so my military time, there's a lot of important mission time, and then there's a lot of downtime. And downtime is when stuff gets all fuzzy, and you have the Jody stories and the stories of people doing bad stuff and the stories of people doing good stuff and everything. But I think I relatively was a squared away soldier. They somehow or another gave me sergeant stripes after a while. I went to sergeant school and I became a sergeant in the United States Army. I know, like, didn't I tell you about that goofy girl that fell into a hole? How did I become a sergeant? And then I saw somebody from that same basic training. She snuck up behind me and she was a sergeant. So you can advance in the military too. I'm not saying it's easy, and a lot of people, get out before they do. And I think in the Army, it's a lot easier than others because, like, the Marine Corps and the Navy, they have to take tests and you have to be technical. I think the Army should do it because a lot of people get responsibility and ready for it. But then you are losing people at war too, so you need to fill those spots. So, but there's a lot more to it. I gave y'all like the juicy, fun stuff from my boot camp, and I gave y'all a little bit about, where I deployed and what I did. My jobs was all over the place. Like I said, I was a cook, but they didn't have nothing for cooks to do. So I ended up working in the office doing a lot of paperwork. I helped people get promoted. I helped people get awards. I did some secret type stuff for missions when we had to go outside of, you have the forward operating base, which is a big base, and then they put a big old gate around it. And then when you go outside, it's called out the wire, or you heard people refer to it as, the wire. So they try to say, if you a fob it, if you deploy, but you don't leave that. But that doesn't mean nothing can't happen to you on a fob. I seen with my own eyes missiles coming to the fob that they were shooting at us. But luckily we was field artillery, so our guys was shooting back. So they would shoot us, and we would hear my sergeant major, he would be shooting them back. So, but yeah, that first deployment was wild. I think, geez, I mean, look, let me tell you something about people who complain about the United States. I lived in Baltimore. Trump called it a shithole. I'm gonna just tell y'all straight up. You don't know a shitty shithole until you see other shitholes. It's kind of like you don't know how dirty or somebody's house can be until you go over somebody else's house that's dirty. I went to a war zone country, and that's how these people live every day. And I felt so terrible, and I felt so bad. But it also made me realize how blessed I was, and we were able to help and assist. I know a lot of people hate the nation building, but I do feel like some of that makes me feel better about the whole situation of, in my mind, whether we should have won or not. No. But, since I did go, I helped some kids go to school. Was that school still there? Who knows? They're probably not, if we're going to be honest. But, you really realize what you have. Like, you might be like, F North Carolina. I don't really like, sorry, Greg. I know you're out here, but you might be like, nah, I don't really like North Carolina. I don't mess with North Carolina. And then when you go to Iraq and you come back, you be like, oh my God, North Carolina. I know that air. Where's Fayetteville? Where's Raleigh? I love North Carolina. Because you like, I'm in the United States. Thank you, God. Because you like that place over there. It's like, oh, but you can't say over there no more because you've been. So now you have a connection with other human beings. I'm going to say it again for Greg in the audience, but whoever watched this later going to be like, what? Okay, so I'm from Maryland. So when you're from another state than the state you end up getting stationed in, you might not see the good qualities of that state because you're from somewhere else. But when you go overseas and you see what a war zone country like Iraq or Afghanistan look like, and this is what people live in every day, oh, you be kissing the North Carolina dirty ground when you come back. Like, for example, we talk about the weather here. in the United States. We joke about how Florida is. We joke about how it's cold up north. We joke about California weather. Over there, it's hot. God Lord, and it felt like the heat was sucking out of me. Like the funniest story I like to tell is how it looked like Mars over there. Like the sandstorms are ridiculous. Like you will go out there in the sand and you can't see nothing. You think, oh, I'm gonna just go to my room and chill. You go into your room, it's sand over everything you own. Your computer, your clothes, you just took out the laundry. Your dress right, dress big, got sand on it. You like, oh my God, the sandstorm. It's sand on everything. You think you have sand on you? You come from the beach. I probably got sand in my boxes from when I joined the military 10 years ago. That's still in that box. That's how much sand I brought back from that country. So I'm still laughing at Greg's comment about North Carolina because I served most of my time in North Carolina, and then now I live in Georgia. But it was just funny because you think, you hear people, oh, I don't like America. America got these issues, but you really see the difference when you go somewhere else, when you live somewhere else. And I don't know if you guys enjoyed these military stories because I got tons. And just like, everybody knows soldiers and veterans, they drink. A lot of people know they smoke. I could tell y'all one funny story. This is my last story. And I thank you guys for joining me on Miss Pinky Thoughts. And I'm going to repost this. And I can't wait till some people hear my stories. And some people think. So when we got back from my first deployment, I don't smoke. I don't like cigarettes or weed or none of that. I don't do none of that. But we were back from a war zone. We made it back. We didn't bring everybody back for my unit. And it was some people who got their truck blown up, and it was just bad. Rest their souls till we meet again. But I was so excited that the guys were smoking cigars. They was like, "You gotta smoke a cigar because we made it back." And I'm like, you know what? This is my only chance. I'm gonna do this one. I hit this cigar so hard. They're like, "Are you gonna die?" Like I was coughing, like, because I just dragged on it. I don't know what I was doing. So I got the cigar in my mouth, and I was just, yeah. But yeah, and one thing I think some feminine people, men, women, whatever, if you feminine, you feel like you don't get to do that as much during deployment because we wear our uniforms 24/7. I don't know if the Navy or the Marine Corps do that when they deploy, but we are always in our uniform. And if we're not in our main uniform, we're in our physical fitness uniform, which is the shorts and the t-shirt. So when you get back, you kind of get your hair done, you put on makeup, you do all this girly stuff because you like, man, I didn't get to be feminine now. Other people might hang on and be like, oh, Mrs. Pinky is like kind of tomboyish. And it's like that also came with a little bit with my personality and a little bit with the military kind of mixed together. So I'm really chill and laid back, but I can dress up and do all that stuff if need be. Not the makeup stuff, but the other wear dress or anything like that. So but a lot of the attitude, some people call it salty, some people call it, just being, a veteran. You become like kind of like grumpy old people. And it's because it's a lot to take. And one thing I noticed is you feel older than if you see a 25-year-old civilian walking around, you might think, man, he look like a baby. But when I was 25, I had soldiers underneath me, people calling on me. I had to go out on missions, and I was in charge of equipment that was worth millions of dollars. And I'm like, damn, I'm only 25. Like what? Like I feel like I was 40 when I got out. I wasn't even 30 yet. But it was good and bad, and it was a lot of lessons. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about other people. I love the United States of America. No matter how much you see me on Twitter complaining about the god dang Democrats or the god dang GOP or the god dang both of them, or I complain about the shitholes around the country, or I complain about this or that, the police brutality, or the way black people get treated, or da 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 da. I'm always gonna love being American. I'm gonna go to another country, go, oh, this is nice. I'm gonna come back to America. I'm gonna go to oh, this is nice. I'm gonna come back to my man. Did the shooting just happen in Baltimore? I'm gonna still love Maryland. That's just how I'm gonna roll. But I'm not gonna keep on boring y'all with a lot more of this. But I hope y'all took a little bit more of understanding how I'm introducing you to myself and just letting you know how I am and that sometimes Twitter doesn't give you a full scope of a person. You don't really get to hear their voice. You don't really get to hear, how they are or what they've been through. So I hope that this gave you just a little bit of insight into who I am, how I came to be, and what I did. And if this show was a blessing to you, please share it with your friends, share it on your social media, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. Also, remember that I'm having a live interview with gubernatorial candidate Shane T. Hazel tomorrow. He is trying to run. Well, he is running for governor of Georgia, and he's going to bless us with his presence, and we're going to have some fire conversations talking about liberty, talking about libertarianism, talking about the Mises Caucus, talking about his problems with both of the parties. He's probably going to try to recruit me again to be a libertarian, and that's going to be fire, and that's going to be 7 o'clock. The Conscious Conservative Network is growing. We have something every day. We have something at 10 o'clock tonight for women's ministry. Tuesday, my thing. Greg's from where I stand, he drops every Wednesday. Thursday is Conscious Conservative TV. Sunday, we have a new constitutional roundtable because people be talking about the Constitution, and we have that going on. So this was an episode about my military stories, and I'm so glad that you guys would join me. Thank you for your comments in the comments, and I'm gonna have to see you guys next time. I'm not gonna keep you guys any much longer. Maybe I'll do some more military stories, or maybe I'll do some out of the military stories of my college days. Who knows? But thank you, and we'll see you next time on Mrs. Pinky Thoughts.